this interview, you'll hear from Margie de Ruyter, Coordinator, College and Career Readiness in the Innovation Division. She speaks to the power of grants as a means to elevate and support workforce development, and how her passion for community work motivates her involvement in grant partnerships and collaboratives that lift our students.
Okay, welcome. Go ahead and please share your name, your title, and the department that you're with.
Good morning. I'm Margie de Ruyter, and I'm a coordinator with our College and Career Readiness team in our Innovation Division here at the San Diego County Office of Education.
And Margie, what has your experience been with grants, either at SDCOE or prior to joining us at the County Office of Ed?
Great. Well, prior to joining the County Office of Ed, which I've been here almost 7 years now, I worked for the local workforce board, and I have had extensive experience there. Managing state, federal, local grants. And we were always looking for other grant opportunities to leverage with our federal workforce development dollars. So lots of experience looking at different state departments, apprenticeship programs, dislocated worker programs, other youth development programs, federally, either juvenile justice, foster care, homelessness, veteran services. So a lot of the big federal departments.
So Margie, there are several different grants that you all have in the Innovation Division. Could you share a little bit about the focus of some of the grants that you're currently supporting?
Sure. I think our big ones are the K-12 Strong Workforce Program, which that's funding out of the state community college chancellor's office. And the purpose of that that state funding is to strengthen and enhance and develop and support our K-12 districts across the county to help improve career pathway and career technical education programs. So we have a team of folks who work with our 42 school districts across the county to provide work-based learning, career exploration, teacher professional development to help build our capacity of our teachers, our counselors as they're doing scheduling. So really just to elevate and support high quality career technical education programming throughout the county. We also work very closely with our community colleges. So as I said, it's out of the chancellor's office. So it's really to create that through line, aligning courses and these career education pathways from K-12 to post-secondary ed. So we're very fortunate to have some resources to help support our districts. And then we were also a recipient of a grant that has helped develop our Linda Vista Innovation Center. And that's a recently acquired, well, I think a couple of years ago, building. County office purchased a building, and our innovation division is housed here, along with we've created some experiential learning labs. So we have, 4 labs that are designed, focused on our region's priority industry sectors. So we have a advanced manufacturing lab, which has equipment and tools and resources, and we've developed some curriculum for teachers. And the purpose of these labs are to bring students from across the county into the center so that they can have a day or several days of hands-on experience and exposure to careers. So advanced manufacturing, we have information communication technologies, which involves coding, anything infotech focused. We're in the process of developing our biotech health sciences lab through a strong partnership that we have with Biocom, which is our region's bioscience consortium. They are working in partnership with us to develop our biotech health sciences lab. And then we also have design thinking. That's human-centered design thinking in our ed tech department in partnership with Alicia Gallegos Butters and her staff. Provide students an opportunity to go through the principles of design thinking, identifying a problem or a community issue or at their school. So it's really project-based where students take the lead in creating solutions through innovation. And that could be a recommendation or a product or a service. And then we also have a STEAM lab for our middle school students. So it's a makerspace, hands-on, 3D printers, just a variety of very cool things that our senior director, Al Love, has purchased over the last couple of years. So we're getting ready to have students at the center. So through the resources that we were able to, that we were awarded through the Strong Workforce Program, that's been the seed money to help create these different labs. So we're looking at any potential corporate or philanthropic funding to continue developing out the center. So that's really been the bulk of our resources, has really helped create the center, as well as build capacity on our team to develop curriculum, professional learning for our teachers. So yeah, just the good stuff that county office does for our districts.
Well, you've done a great job of painting a picture for us so that we understand the ultimate result really will be that students are served in these labs, but we needed additional dollars to be able to really be able to lift that vision.
That's correct.
So your grants are a little bit different than others in that they actually serve the entire county of San Diego. Sometimes in certain departments, we might have grants that are very specific. They might be narrow in focus so that they can only serve specific school sites or specific districts. Can you talk a little bit about what the upside and perhaps even some challenges might be when you have grants that really are to serve the 42 districts and the plethora of charter schools that we also have in the county? So what is the good side about that, and what can be something that maybe has been challenging?
That's right. Well, I think, as you said, our plethora of districts and charter schools. So we're really making a very intentional effort to also expand our services to our charter schools. And as you know, our county is so diverse, from Borrego Springs, which is a 2 to 2.5 hour drive one way, which we are going to be sending a team of folks out this summer to provide some coding, robotics training for summer programming out there. To then our schools down at the border, and anything in between. So I think the downside is just having the capacity to be at all of these different places. The upside is that we also are using virtual and Canvas, so a lot of our programming and a lot of our work can also be done virtually. So I guess there's always that, how do we balance? So that's kind of the downside, but again, the upside is a lot of it's virtual, and we're going to do our best to make sure that these services are accessing all corners of the county. We do try and when we're planning services, look at things sub-regionally, who are our partners in North or North Inland, North Coastal, or East County. Who are our higher ed partners, out there with our 5 community college districts. So I think it's also knowing our community, having a good, solid knowledge of our environment, that environmental scan, what are industries that are out in our different areas of the county, as well as who are our champions.
Now, you have a lot of experience with grants. You said federal, state, some that are privately funded. What do you think would be helpful to someone who maybe is just starting out? Maybe they've just joined SDCOE and they've been brought on to be part of a grant. What are some of the tools that you've picked up that you wish somebody had shared with you to just make life a little bit easier in understanding grant world? What are some of those tips that you might have?
Okay, that's pretty broad. I would say for any grant that you're approaching is, I know it sounds very simplistic, but read from front to back, and read all the appendixes and the definitions and the rubric if they provide that, so that you know what the outcome is. Also, when you're looking at grants, does it align to our mission vision? Is it a right fit? Sometimes it's like buck de jour, as what our CEO from my previous employment used to call it. Let's not just chase after dollars. Is there a purpose? Does it align with our mission vision? And I think also being very familiar with our region, again, our environment, who again are our partners. We can't really be all to all. And as we're looking at, how do we serve the whole child model and concept in our work, who are those other folks out there that provide high quality services that also help support family, that help support young people through their trajectory from TK to 12 and beyond. So I think those are some of the things that I would advise someone. And then research. I think it's just, money is put out there, either at the federal, state, local level for a purpose. Research the funder. What are their priorities? What are their, what's their vision for accomplishing for these dollars? So I guess just researching and just trying to make yourself as familiar as possible about the community, the landscape, partners, who are great folks to work with, best practices. Look at other regions. What are other states? What are other districts? Or what are other communities doing to address the similar problem? And quite often with federal and state applications, they will have a list of, here's some resources for best practices and model programs. Take the time to research those to see what are other successful programs across the country that have also been funded for similar work.
So what are some of the challenges maybe that you have encountered or that you can give some insight on?
I think grant implementation, one of the things that I've seen has been experienced is when you get to the implementation, when you're awarded, yay, we're excited. Now comes the work of really actualizing what we planned. So having a really good project plan with responsibilities and who's, the point person for different aspects of it. If it's a collaborative effort with external partners, having regular meetings, bringing those folks in, and again, just doing almost like a kickoff, and then just having a clarity of roles. So I think I've experienced where we've had wonderful, wonderful plans, and it just kind of doesn't quite happen the way we want it to. So just having that work, in place, a strong work plan shared with all. So I think that's been one of the experiences that I've had where I've learned a lot of, you can't expect that, well, you were written in, now you're going to do your part. It's really going back again and just the accountability of it, because again, partners, and then being very clear on the outcomes. You wrote a plan, you said you were going to do X, Y, Z, stay true to that. These are the outcomes we're going to work towards. And then also the fiscal and administrative, kind of the regulatory compliance stuff, making sure you follow that. I've also been in collaboratives where people want to start changing the budget. It's like, whoa, hang on a minute. This is what we submitted, and we were awarded based on the program design and the budget that we've created to support it. So once you start changing that, there could be immaterial sort of things that change, but anything significant around elements of it or the approach, or even especially, I know federal grants really are very strict around personnel changes, even state grants as well. Mm-hmm. So just being very clear on recognizing that you were awarded based on what you wrote and on your design. So sticking with that. And I know sometimes it's easy to start veering away, but staying on track with what you proposed. So those are a couple of the other things that, tips that I would advise folks, and just as reminders.
Wonderful tips. I have to ask you, Margie, listening to you as a former counselor, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I want to learn more about Margie's experience. So I have to ask, what have you learned about yourself with all of the different grants that you've helped write and helped to implement? What has that particular experience taught you about yourself?
Gosh, I think it underscores my passion for community work. My undergrad is in human services. I have a master's in public administration, and I think at the public service. I've always been involved. I'm a huge believer in our public service system. I know sometimes it's not the best, but that's why we're public servants, to help improve. So I find a lot of joy and passion when I know that any resources that we can bring in, any collaboratives that we pull together, or partnerships that are formed that are just strengthening our collective work. One of my strengths is significance, which I want to be a part of something important. And almost that fear of missing out. I want to be a part of something significant and important that's changing the lives of young people. That's primarily been my background in youth workforce development. And that's why I think I have such an affinity to career education, because really we're preparing young people for their future, college and career. It doesn't end in 12th grade. It doesn't end after, a bachelor's degree or technical skills. It's really about preparing them for their future livelihood, their economic opportunity, helping to create just some good citizens that are thriving and being a part of a healthy community. And that's really what I believe in. And that's the work I've been engaged in for all these years. So I love it. I've been at county office almost 7 years, and I think the work we do is just outstanding. I don't think I've worked with such a high caliber of just smart people and committed people. So I think that motivates me, and that drives me as well.
I appreciate you, Margie, and I'm hoping that our viewers, our SDCOE colleagues will hear you, and that it resonates that sometimes the grants can seem like a lot of work when they look at an application, or they think, oh my goodness, how I've never done that. But then to listen to you and how it connects to your joy and your passion, and the fact that grants sometimes will allow you, they can serve as that vehicle, that the driver maybe that was needed to help make that change. And so when you look at it that way, I always tell people, if it's a right fit, go for it. We'll figure out a way to get this application turned in. We'll get through the bureaucratic pieces. Yeah. We will remove those barriers, but ultimately it's to serve students. So collectively, all of the grants that you brought in, all of the partnerships that you've leveraged, that all has been a key in being able to have that project come to fruition. So you should feel extremely proud. I know you're just right on the cusp of having those doors open for students.
I'm so excited. Yeah, we're waiting. Yeah.
So congratulations, and thank you for sharing your knowledge and your expertise. And we hope that it helps our SDCOE colleagues. So thank you for joining us.
My pleasure. Thanks, Gabby.